Want to welcome everybody here today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know we got some folks joining us from around the globe, so really appreciate you taking some time here with us today. We're excited to talk about how Oracle EBS customers can benefit from Oracle Cloud WMS. It's a really exciting topic. There's a lot of value and benefit to be had from an integrated logistics platform. And some of you may be in different places in your Oracle journey. So we're excited to talk through some of our experience and benefits here today. But we've got our speakers here today. So I'd like to welcome Keith McMahon from Oracle. Thank you so much for your support here today. So for those of you who do not know Keith, he's the AVP Supply Chain for North America at Oracle. Keith brings decades of experience in helping leading companies innovate and transform their supply chain. And then we have Lee and Anand Yadav with Intellinom. So Sean and Anand are just two of the most brilliant minds when it comes to warehouse management. Both have, over 20 plus years experience in working with on-premise Oracle EBS, WMS, Oracle Cloud WMS. Both of them have been on the other side, either using it as a customer and implementing and consulting and making customers successful with Oracle Warehouse Management for many years. So as you can see, Anand's got his vest on there. He was kind enough to step aside today. He's actually on site with the customer. So that's quite the dedication, and appreciate you taking the time there, my friend. So Sean, if you could go on to the next slide, please. Our agenda here for today, I'm going through the welcome and introductions. I'm going to turn it over to Keith here in just a moment. But what we're going to walk through is talking about some of the customer success. What are other customers? How are they benefiting? How are they innovating with Oracle Cloud WMS? Why you should consider Oracle Cloud WMS. Obviously, with Sean and Anand implementing and consulting for over 20 years, what are some of the lessons learned and best practices that you can take in your journey? They've been in the trenches doing this forever, so learn from some of their lessons. Some of the common misconceptions of cloud. A lot has changed since Oracle acquired Logfire over 9 years ago. They continue to invest and innovate, and it's a completely different product. So we want to talk about some of the misconceptions of cloud. And then lastly, key functional and operational benefits. Everybody needs to have the business value and ROI from doing a project. So we hope to talk through some of those nuggets and arm you with that. And from a Q&A perspective, we have some time set aside at the end, but please feel free to ask questions in the chat throughout. I'll be monitoring it, and I'll do our best to address it here at the end. And of course, when we get to that, put your questions in the chat, and we'll address them real time. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Keith. Thank you so much.
Awesome. John, thanks for the intro, and thanks to the rest of the team at Intellinom, Eric, Sean, and Anand. You guys are great partners, and we'll get a couple commercials in as we navigate the time today. But as John said, my name's Keith McMahon. I have the pleasure to lead the supply chain team at Oracle. That represents the logistics suite, which is kind of TMS, global trade, and WMS, the planning suite, the analytics suite, and what we call supply chain execution. And think of that as like MES light, inventory, cost, and quality, et cetera. So as John mentioned, we're going to give you some data today. We're going to give you some stories, and then I think round that out with some math, because I think you're not alone out there in terms of your assessment and the journey. We put this slide up here. I actually came from Gartner. I led the supply chain sales team at Gartner for 14 years. And I think there's just credibility behind the objective research that they do. It'll double click into some of the functional details. But I think, one of the things that I got excited about the partnership between Intellinom is, Oracle has a pretty vast partner ecosystem. And about a year and a half ago, we kind of took some time to recertify all of the claims that our partners said they do. And I'm really happy to say that Intellinom's been, continuing to rise their delivery, and you'll hear a lot of great customer success stories today. But I think at the end of the day, if we're in your shoes, our job is to be predictable, and we'll try to wrap this theme around like simplicity, adoption, and scale. That's why we're winning. If you look at our portfolio, WMS is the second fastest growing product we have in our entire portfolio. And it's because of great partnerships with Intellinom where, you can actually implement what you purchased and make sure that you're getting proper return over those, the course of the year. So with that said, I will hand it back over to the team and I'll go on mute, but feel free to message me, whatever in the chat as we navigate the day if you have any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Appreciate that. And welcome everybody. So as John said, my name is Sean Lee, and I run our logistics practice with Anand at Intellinom. So excited to be here, and we wanted to talk through some of our customer success stories. First, to kick it off, just to get you some real life stories and experience of what's going on out there in the ecosystem for the WMS cloud solution. So I'm going to start off talking about the first two customers here. The first one is C-Spire. They're headquartered in Jackson, Mississippi. They're a technology company that provides basically cutting edge networks, fiber optics, cell phones, those types of things. They serve residential and businesses in that space, and they service Mississippi and Alabama, the two states. This was a complete cloud transformation. So they were on EBS on-prem, as well as EBS WMS, and they did a complete cloud transformation for this project. There were 6 warehouses that went live, so we did a big bang for this project. There were about 100 to 200,000 square feet per warehouse on average. And certainly some challenges and some good things that came out of this. And we're highlighting here some of the things, and I'll point out a little bit more detail on what some of this means. But LPNs were used in their old WMS system, but they were customized to the point where they weren't using them. So as we uncovered the sheets in the project and found out what was going on, it was really, the system was tailored down to more of an inventory system. So they weren't really using EBS WMS as it could have been. But we took it up, and they found that they did need the license plate management. So having incorporated that with the new system, they were doing a lot less scans, of course, improving their cycle counting efficiencies and things like that involved the license plates in the cloud system. We took advantage of the attribute-based functionality as well in cloud. They're using projects, so because they do jobs and have job sites they need to go to, all of their orders came in tied to a customer, tied to a business, using Oracle projects. So we tied that into Oracle Cloud WMS as attributes and filtered them through tasks to be able to pick, pack, and load these trucks as they went out and fulfilled these work orders. They gained a lot of efficiency on the inbound processing, PO receipts. They took advantage of inbound sorting, which is a feature of the WMS Cloud. A lot of serialization, if you can imagine, with cell phones, things like that. So they got a lot more traceability, a lot more efficiency on how they were scanning, and basically visibility on all of that. They were using batch order picking. They were doing full license plate pulls. Substitutions was another big piece for them that they utilized. And we did some reserving of priority picking as well. In addition to that, the facilities are moving much faster than before, more efficient, a lot more visibility. And again, now they're able to, as they go through acquisitions, and the training they received, they're able to stand up a site in basically less than 2 months. So that was kind of, obviously unheard of in the EBS world to be able to do that quickly. But that was one thing that they realized after getting the training, and had a site quickly go live after the initial 6 that I spoke of. The security around groups, permissions, and users were a lot easier to maintain and use as well. So those are kind of some of the main benefits for them. And obviously there's some key metrics that we've outlined as well for the customer for C-Spire. So that's a little bit about C-Spire. I'm going to jump in now to Simmons. So Simmons has three main business divisions. They have prepared foods like poultry. They have pet foods, and they have animal nutrition. So the purpose of this project, again, they were on JDE at the time. Again, doing a transformation, but they did start with WMS Cloud for this project. They built a warehouse from the ground. It was 1 million square feet for the pet food division. This is due to growth and everything else they had for the future planning. There was around 100 different dock doors. This would include 50 inbound and 50 outbound docks for receiving and shipping. They operated on a 24/5 shift. There was around 30 operators per shift for this, servicing over 20 plus retailers. The project itself took about 10 months to implement. And as I said, it was a JDE and backend, so we had integrations built and going back to JDE. Some of the goals that they were experiencing and had in mind for this project was to optimize their space, hence for the new warehouse and so forth, and also the travel time. They were having a lot of issues with that in the older warehouses they had, so they were moving a lot of product over to this new warehouse, and we were able to optimize that and reduce the travel time for them. They get a lot more visibility on labor to improve that, and just overall process efficiency in the new system. Scalability was also a big one for them. The WMS Cloud is very, very scalable, and it allowed them to, for future growth for the business, to enhance that scalability and go with a product that really hits home for that piece that they were looking for. Some of the key KPIs gained here too. Again, around cycle counting, that always seems to be a big one for these, just to make it more efficient. They were doing some manual cycle counting, things like that before. Now it's task-based and other pieces that work well for them. We had a put-away analysis that we did for them by user, product type, and customer zones that allow them, again, to put away more efficient and pick and ship the product efficient as well. The picking lead times themselves was down from a warehouse staff, and making it better for their customers, right, to deliver product on time and fulfill a lot faster for the orders as required. The next phases for Simmons, they do have other divisions that they do want to roll out. So we're going to actually help them with the next couple phases coming up next year. They have other warehouses in the pet foods area. There's the distribution and manufacturing for poultry. And then just doing the transitioning also from JDE to SEM. So that's all going on for their future plans, and we're continuously to implement things there at Simmons as well. I'll pass it to Anand, and he's going to talk through Sunrun.
Sure. Thanks, Sean. So hello, everybody. My name is Anand Yadav. I lead the logistics practice here at Intel Enum. I'll be talking about Sunrun, right? So Sunrun, as you all know, Sunrun now is the #1 solar company and power storage company in the United States. They have, I would say, 5 DCs and close to 35 branches all across US, right? To support their distribution, installation, and also service organizations, right? So Sunrun is currently on EBS, right? They are migrating to cloud, right? They are on their journey towards cloud. It's a complete transformation. The entire EBS footprint is going to cloud with WMS as well. So we are in UAT now. Sunrun will go live early next year. I think the February is the date when they have decided to go live. Now, the primary factor why Sunrun decided to go to cloud were, I was just talking to the leadership. They said security, stability, and scalability, right? These are the 3 main factors why they considered cloud on the WMS side, right? So talking about security, right? Knowing Sunrun footprint with almost 40 facility all across US, right? They need to maintain all the server, all spams, virus attack, everything, right? They have to take care of all the security on their servers, right? If they go to cloud, that's gone. Nobody has to take care of anything, right? This is all on Oracle secure cloud infrastructure. Client, they don't have to manage anything like that, right? So that was the key that enabled Sunrun towards the towards the cloud journey, right? The next one was stability. Now, I come from Oracle EBS WMS background, right? I started my career with Oracle WMS development team way back in 2000s. And we all know, right? I have done development, I have done multiple implementation on EBS WMS cloud, and now we are doing the cloud, right? But we have all seen the instability with MSCS server, right? There are times where we have to be babysitting our MWS servers, where the performance will go down. We have to bounce the server, clear the cache, run behind DBAs, and do all those things. Now with cloud, that's all gone. There is no MWS server. The RF infrastructure is designed in a way that runs on a web platform. And there is no cache clearing, nothing has to be done. It is all on Oracle infrastructure. So we don't have to be running behind DBAs, babysitting MSCA when the volumes are going high, we are getting more users logging in. There is no need of that anymore, right? So that helps a lot on the stability point of view, because you can now rely on WMS to be having a zero downtime, right? The other thing also that comes with that WMS cloud is zero downtime patching, right? You all know that with cloud, we get a continuous improvement. Every quarter, there is an upgrade that happens with which we can get all the new functionalities. But the best part of WMS cloud is all these upgrades are zero time downtime. So if you have a 24/7 operation, you don't need to worry about it. You can keep running your operation. The patching would all happen in the background. That enhances your stability, your 24/7 operation. Now coming to the scalability, Sean already touched about it, right? But WMS cloud is the way it has been set up, right? It is auto scalable, right? Now, let's say you're going into high season. If you're on-prem, you need to look at your hardware, probably bump up your RAM, storage, whatever, IO, right? Just to make sure that you're not running into any performance issue when you go to the high season. Now with WMS cloud, not needed. Everything is on cloud. WMS cloud is set up to be auto scaling. So if your transactions are going high, there are algorithms set up on the cloud side. They would look at the transaction, scale up your infrastructure. You don't have to worry about it, right? So that was another key factor why Sunrun decided, because they keep running promotions for solar, right? And then their volumes would go high. Now EBS, they had to literally babysit their hardware, go behind their infrastructure team to keep bumping up hardware, RAM, and other things, which is not needed anymore. This is all going to be on cloud. Oracle is going to take care of it, right? So these were the main factor why Sunrun decided to go to cloud. And I think they're very happy till now. We are in UAT, will go live early next year. Okay, we'll go to the next slide, Son. Okay, so now we'll talk about why, right? We touched about some of this point, but I'll continue with this slide as well, right? We'll touch upon why we should consider WMS cloud, right? Starting with the architecture, right? The way WMS cloud has been built, right? It is built with a standalone architecture. What benefit it gives you is basically it makes you easy to integrate with any ERP application. It could be EBS, it could be Fusion Cloud, it could be any other ERP for that matter, right? So that is how the architecture is there, right? So there are a lot of plugins available, there are APIs available, and you can just seamlessly integrate with any ERP that you want to work with, right? That is on the standalone architecture. Now, why it is important? It could be important, let's say you have a very large EBS on-prem footprint and you're not ready to move the entire EBS footprint to cloud yet, right? But what WMS cloud gives you is basically, okay, you can, if you're not ready to move your entire infrastructure to cloud, you can start taking advantage of cloud infrastructure by just moving WMS. And the way WMS, as I said, right, is designed, you can integrate it with on-prem EBS, right? If you want to move the entire footprint to cloud, there is out-of-box integrations available where you can just integrate with ERP cloud as well. Now, the next thing is the cloud application. There are a lot of misconceptions in the market. It is difficult. It doesn't work. Again, as I said, I have worked more than 20 years in EBS WMS on-prem environment, right? Right from development to consulting have done more than 20 implementation end to end, right? I love EBS on-prem to the teeth. But when I came to cloud, I had my apprehensions, right? Okay, what would I do? It would take time to learn. Would it work? Not work? But believe me, it was very, very easy. The system is designed in a way, right? The way it comes out of box, most of the configurations are already there. You need to just tweak a little bit to make it work for your business processes, right? So for me, I just took a 1 week training with Oracle, and then I was up to the speed. I went for implementation after that, and we did a successful implementation. So there are misconceptions that, okay, cloud does not work and it's very difficult to learn. It's not there. Once you start using cloud, you will see even the mobile transaction, you go to the cycle counting, it is so intuitive. It tells you, guides you step by step how you're going to do the transaction. So you don't have to spend times and have a lot of people sitting and making your training material and all, right? System is very, very intuitive. If the resources are a little bit from the warehousing background, they can very easily pick it up. Okay, next point is basically why you should consider scalability. Lot of our customer, right, they have a seasonal demand or they're running promotions where their ordered volume would go very, very high, right? And then at that point, if you're an EBS, I have seen customers, right? We need to run behind EBS, add infrastructure, right? So that we are not running into performance issue. As I said earlier, WMS Cloud comes with auto scaling, right? It's not anymore our headache. It is with Oracle. There are smart algorithms set up there. They would look at your volumes. The moment the volume goes up, by default, infrastructure would be added to it. You don't have to worry. It is all set up to happen by itself. We talked about stability, right? MSCA server, MWA server. We have all seen, right? When we have multiple users logging in, locked session, bounce the server, run behind DBA, clear the IO, clear the cache, whatever, right? Again, I'm not blaming. That is how the system was designed, and that's how it is. There are workarounds. There are ways people can go around it. But with cloud, you don't have to worry about it. The way the architecture is, there is no MW server anymore. You have a mobile client that runs on the web, and then you can directly connect it. And this is my fifth implementation that I'm doing now on cloud, and we have not run into the same MWA performance issue here. Our mobile runs seamlessly without any problem. The only issue is Wi-Fi, which is, again, you need to have Wi-Fi connectivity. All those things are there, right? Now, there are a couple of key features, right? Everybody who uses EBS now, right? Again, warehousing environment, we need label printing. Although we say that EBS has a label printing functionality, but we all know that we cannot print label standalone, right? We need to work with a third-party label printing software to print label on EBS. Now, that is also gone. With cloud, you have out-of-box label printing functionality where you can design your labels. You can print your label directly out of box. You don't have to rely or work with a third-party system. Now you're not paying any fee for Loftware of the worlds and bartenders of the world, right? This is all standard. You can design your label, you can print your label. No third-party software needed. Next one is out-of-box integration with FedEx and UPS, right? Again, in the on-prem, right? Again, if we have to do a partial shipment, we need to rely on a third-party software like Ship Console, ProShip, or whatever, right? Whatever you're using. Now, with cloud, you don't need to, because WMS Cloud, again, comes with a direct integration with FedEx and UPS. You can directly set it up and run with shipping through FedEx and UPS. You don't need any third-party software here. Again, you have label printing, you have partial integration. It is all standard seeded out of the box. So again, you don't have to pay additional licenses for your label printing software, your Ship Console, or ShipStation, or whatever you're using. The other key feature that I really like about WMS Cloud is the built-in analytic reporting, right? I know we can develop a lot of reports on EBS and on-prem. There are tools there. But with WMS Cloud, we have something called as web reporting. It's a very, very strong tool. It can be used to build any kind of dashboard, any operational report that you need. And it can be also set up that it will auto refresh, right? So I have wherever we have implemented, we have created so many dashboards, and then we can display in the warehouse, right? Where user can keep looking at the load. There could be open order reports, open tasks, high priority orders. They're all displayed. And then you can have a visual and nobody has to sit and refresh, right? It can be auto refresh so that the latest data is available on the dashboard. So it's a very, very strong tool. Again, I recommend everybody using it. I do see some questions in the chat about automation. We can answer it later. But again, WMS Cloud comes with a lot of plugins with automation integration, right? Whether you have a conveyor, VLMs, robotics, whatever it is, right? There are plugins available with WMS Cloud that can be integrated. Again, I'm not saying it is going to be, just plug and play. There will be some work that needs to be done, and that is done even in EBS today, right? But good thing is that there are automation plugins available out of box that you can use in and integrate with any automation device that you're using. Again, that with cloud, you get all the additional advantage of low maintenance and also fast deployment. Sean talked about the fast deployment earlier. So yeah, that's all on this slide, Sean. We can go to the next one.
Yep, and this is me on. So thanks, I appreciate that.
Go ahead, yeah.
So for lessons learned and best practice, I want to kind of go a little bit back into a story and how this all kind of fell about for myself and some of my peers. So I recall still to this day on how this all came about, and it was in 2014. I got a call. It was a Saturday, actually. I got a call from my president of my former company, and he was calling me and said, "Hey, Sean, I just met this guy Diego last week, and he's got this really neat software called Logfire. It's a WMS tool, and it lives in the cloud. And I want you and a couple people from your team to go out to Atlanta, meet with these guys, and get some training on the software. I think it'll be good for our practice to branch out and give us some opportunity there." So I hung up the phone and kind of was like on end, a million things in my head, like a cloud solution for WMS. That does not sound like that could work. Just a lot of things going through my head, right? I'm like, how can they do this on a cloud, with the RFs and everything going on? And, you have the mobile server, all these things, right? Were going through my head. So we ended up going in Atlanta about a month later. I took three of my good people from my team out there, met Diego, met a lot of people in the office in Atlanta. From there, went in and did some training on this product. So I'd say my first impression was it was very easy to use, very easy to navigate. Of course, I had a lot of questions and tried as much as I could not to compare it to, EBS WMS. That's really all I had for the last 15 years of knowledge, right? So I was trying my best to kind of just listen and learn through the training. And this was on version 6, just to put it in perspective. We're on, I think, version 24 now. And as Anand said, the different 4 times a year updates. But so that was my first exposure. And then we started working with Logfire on some implementation projects. They brought us in as subcontractors, and to continue to learn the product and help them out. And then along comes Oracle and saw the goodness and other pieces of this product that they felt was good vision for their cloud roadmap strategy, and purchased Logfire. So we ended up, where we're at today with Oracle. And Oracle's obviously done a lot of changes in that system. As Anand's pointed out, they run an Amazon backend infrastructure, right? Now they're on Oracle OCI infrastructure, and they have something called an autonomous database, and that's what Anand was referring to. Is I remember, as most of the people on-prem remember, the DBAs, they're up sleepless nights, they're keeping our servers running. I have to apply a patch, Sean. We have to turn down the system for about 4 to 6 hours. Everyone remembers those stories, right? Now this autonomous database has all that in. It's like the DPA has been sucked into this cloud server, right? And is basically taking control, doing everything behind the scenes. They're doing hot patching. That zero downtime is huge. We had a lot of sleepless nights where the system's going down. We're trying to close our books, on EBS and guess what? The system's down. We can't do that because there's a patch or there's something going on with Oracle, whatever that was. So a lot of good things come out of that zero downtime. So I just wanted to give some background there where I came from and how we got into this. And like I said, myself and Anand have similar background as how we were introduced to this product and where we're at today. So we've learned a lot going through this. When we took on ownership as Oracle's taking this over and we started doing some implementations ourselves, it was all new. It was new to everybody. We took baby steps, as I like to say. We tackled NetSuite first. So we went after some NetSuite customers that were looking for a WMS cloud solution and they weren't happy necessarily with the NetSuite WMS solution that they had because it was more of a light WMS solution. So we kind of started there. Started with some NetSuite customers, gained experience there through integration, and all these things evolved, right? And Oracle's come a long ways now. Anand mentioned as well that we have a lot of out-of-box integrations now. Back then, you were building the integrations, right? We were assisting Oracle with those integrations, but those are all built now. You still have to tweak some here and there for some business things, but for the most part, they are out-of-the-box integrations, and they do make the implementations a lot quicker and a lot easier. Some things here I'll just point out real quick. During the implementations, what we learned and going through these projects with many different types of flavors of customers, you really want to be smart on the front end, right? So this gap analysis is basically when you're doing requirements, right? We all know what map and gap is and those types of things, but really be clear about what some of the gaps might be and how they can be addressed. They may not be gaps after all. They may not be exactly what you do in the system today. And there may be another way around that, right, with the cloud system. But make sure you're really going through that analysis up front and involve the users and stuff around that as well, because it really helps to understand what the real problem is or what you're trying to accomplish, so you can really key on those gaps. Existing processes. So this is another thing I hear from a lot of customers as I go into these implementations. They say, we don't want to just do exactly what we're doing today. We've been doing the same thing for 20, 25 years. It works, but we're open for some change, right? If there's a better way to do it, we're leaning on your expertise. So we don't want to just come in necessarily and just because it's cloud and realize it's a different application, but just lift and shift, as they say, right? We don't just replace exactly what you're doing today. There's going to be some changes. You're going to replace some existing processes. You're using a different system. You're still going to get from point A to point B, but you may have to replace some of those things that you've been doing, the last 20 years and so forth to make it advantageous for you. Configuration, again, this is everything that's driven above from requirements, design, and gap analysis is going to drive your configuration. So the key in that is just to make sure that you're configuring the system. Everyone is involved as you're configuring, understanding what you're doing, and learning that from a configuration standpoint. So at the end of the day, the customer's not sitting there like, what was configured, what happened. Here, we want to make sure you're involved in the configuration process and understanding what we're doing, from a design perspective on that. Legacy data. So there's a lot of customers I'll go to that have multiple items or things that they have that they may be obsolete, right? Maybe other things that they don't use those items. So just we have to think through that master data stuff, right? And make sure that we have a real clean slate of the data that we're going to be bringing into WMS. We don't want to bring in obsolete items, and this is an opportunity to do that. So really look at that, the legacy data, and make sure that we have a clean approach when we're doing these implementations. Testing, again, an obvious thing, but it's true. We want to test, and go through as many cycles as we can to test the system. And again, I stress this more than anything is have the users involved very early, even through CRPs and all that. They may not be directly hands-on, but go into the system, even through design sessions, through CRP, show them the system, have the users involved, because the more they're involved up front, the more likely they're going to accept this system and, really feel like they're a part of it. And the more you test, right, as you test, you're going to think of something. Oh, what about this scenario? And those are all found during the testing cycles. So just test is the point here. And the more testing you do, the more successful you'll be on these projects. Stakeholder alignment's key. This is for change management, obviously. So I do a lot of that today where I talk to executives and the stakeholders that are involved in the projects and really make sure that their people are aligned on what we're doing, what the vision is of the company, those types of things, right? So again, just to make your implementation successful, you got to make sure there's alignment there.
John, let me just jump in on
Sure.
that stakeholder alignment piece too, because that's just so critical, right? When we talk about the business and getting the funding for these types of initiatives, Oracle and Intellium have a specific kind of joint practice that's built around, we call it BVS, business value services, but it's taking the math, right, and connecting it to the process so that you can demonstrate value on the investment. And it's something that we're very comfortable doing. We kind of have an outside-in process as well as the alternative. And as we're going through, and hopefully you're getting some examples of some of this evidence, but that usually on the front end is a great action for us as a team to lean into, and that's something that we're really comfortable. We would welcome the chance to do that with you, depending on where you are in the maturity. So I'll hand it back to you, Sean. I just think it's a big portion of the process on the front end, as well as we continue to implement.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Keith. I appreciate that. That is good insight. Yeah, and I'll just wrap it up here. Training, as I mentioned, I'm a big believer. Again, I keep saying this, but the end user's always good to get involved, and we want to train you guys as much as possible. So the more training you can do throughout this process is just going to be good for everybody. You're going to own the system at the end of the day, and the last thing we want is after go live, you have no idea what was done, right? You really don't. You may not understand like how to receive a PO, those types of things, but you really want to understand the system, and that training goes hand in hand with that. So the more you can do throughout the process, the better your implementation is going to be successful. The benefits and continuous improvements, I mean, Anand's talked about quite a few of these, but again, having the 4 quarterly updates a year is huge, right? I mean, EBS, I remember I put in, there used to be a place that you can enter, they call them ideas now, but basically they were thought processes of how can we improve the product, right? It would sit in limbo for 5 years, just things like that. I think there's even a couple that I put back in 2004 that never got done. So here Oracle really relies on the customers, putting in these improvements, the SIs helping the partners. What are some ideas that we can improve this software, right? And those are getting baked in pretty quickly. I've seen turnarounds in 1 quarter, at some point. So those improvements are happening and they're going in 4 times a year. So that's a huge benefit here, to have those, and you can take advantage of those right away, or you just keep business as running as normal, but you have a chance to test that. You have partners that can help you with that, test those out, kind of educate you on what's coming. Oracle does a lot of that as well in quarter releases. They have meetings around that. So just those benefits and continuous improvements around that is key. And then the last thing is just choose your partner wisely. So I can't say enough. We've seen it, unfortunately, the last year or so, where some customers have gone to partners that, whether it was to save some money or not knowing, whatever that is, and it didn't go well, right? These are partners that didn't know how to implement WMS correctly, or didn't have the knowledge base from an integration standpoint, right? There's so many components to this that you got to really choose the partner, and there's several out there, for sure, but make sure you choose that partner wisely. Oracle can help direct you on that as well, but it's very key, because in the long run, just to save money, you're going to end up paying at the end after you go live and things aren't successful. And then you're going to end up having another partner come in and kind of help you out anyway. So we've seen it firsthand. So again, I just encourage you to choose partners wisely throughout this process. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
There we go.
I think, Sean, we are running out of time, so we can skip this one. Basically, we will, as we said, right, there are a lot of misconception. Again, this slide would be available and this deck will be available on our website, right? So we'll quickly go through this one. Basically, The main one is that WMS Cloud cannot work with manufacturing environment, right? With the recent changes, there are seeded integration that has come up, right? Where you can integrate WMS Cloud with any manufacturing system, right? Again, from Fusion Manufacturing, it is out-of-box seeded integration, but other ones you can use the integration and tweak it as you need, right? Go to the next one, Sean. Sorry, guys, we are going a little fast. We want to be respectful of the time here. On the key functionality, right? There are many, but I will just touch upon a couple of them here. Because all the modern innovation is happening on the cloud platform, right? So WMS Cloud is also taking advantage of the new trend and new technology, wherein we are enabling AI-based algorithm within WMS Cloud, which is helping us to, figure out what is the order cycle time is, right? And based on that, you can take informed decision, make resourcing changes or whatever is needed, right? So that is a very, very key as far as what I have seen on the warehouse management side of it, right? That there are algorithm running in the web background based on your historical data. It can come and predict your order cycle time, right? And then you plan accordingly. That is very key. The second one on the space utilization, we have seen many customers struggling with it, right? Now, what this new AI algorithm is doing, right? It is using algorithm like basket analysis, where it helps you put away items that are sold on the same order together. Let's say you get an order for milk. Generally, people would order milk, eggs, and bread together, right? So this basket analysis does something like that in the algorithm, and then when you're doing a put away, it knows what item you're putting away and what is the item that it is sold most likely, right? So it will recommend a location which is next to those locations. So that way, when you're going to pick it, right, you don't have to walk all the warehouse, right? Again, there are more, but to respect the time, I'll skip this one for now. Go to the next one, Sean. Again, we have said about integration capabilities. There are multiple plugins available for automation, UPS, FedEx system. There is out-of-box integration with OTM. And again, with Fusion Cloud, you can use those integration and tweak it to integrate to any ERP or Oracle EBS. Keep going. Sean, do you want to touch upon this one?
Yeah, so this is just on average across Oracle's customer base on reducing costs here. So again, I don't have to read each one of these, but it just gives you an idea what the average percentage is across all these areas, right? We talked firsthand about the customers in the beginning, that some of these metrics fit right in here. But this is actually uh, case studies that are done from Oracle and coming up with these percentages and what customers are reporting. So we just wanted to kind of see some of these areas and what some of the percentages of savings would be around this. And again, this is tied to working capital. So your inventory, whether it's safety stock, missing, expired material. I would even put some other things in here for partial pallets, things like that, right? That would affect your inventory and throughout the warehouse. Again, these are the averages of what we're reducing from an inventory working capital standpoint. Okay, so to wrap it up, the last thing that I'll say here is, so we as a company in Telenom are here to help you guys. We appreciate all your time and listening to our presentation today. We're here to help. So Anand and myself, we have a great team that we've assembled in the last 2 years, over 15 plus years experience, a lot of the similar background coming from that EBS world that we all know. And we're here to help and want to offer up a kind of analysis complementary piece to help you guys on your roadmap, on your vision. What are your pain points today? What are your concerns, right? Moving to cloud. We want to initiate that and kind of move forward with you if you're interested, and certainly encourage you to reach out to John, Anna, and myself in order to do that. And John, I'll let you take it from here, but I just wanted to fill that last piece in here.
Yeah, I think we're going to let Keith wrap it up. So, Sean and Anand, thank you so much. Keith, do you want to bring us home?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll bring it home. So again, thanks to everyone for taking the time, and John and Sean, Anand, the Intellinom team, great job. And I love the way that you ended here with just an investment in the community here that we've established. So certainly great content this morning. I think we were going to share this with the attendees, and then for folks that are in your organization that couldn't join this, we're also happy to kind of replay this as a one-off where and when it makes sense. But again, I think the comment was made by a few folks. I mean, Oracle has a pretty vast partner ecosystem. And when we recertified the partners, not just in WMS, but Intellinom just kind of continues to rise to the top. And I'll kind of end how I started, right? We talked about simplicity, adoption, and scale are the themes that we want you to kind of walk away of when you partner with Oracle and Intellinom. And ultimately, like, that brings us to being predictable. We have to be predictable as a vendor, and Intellinom has to be predictable as an implementer. And that's why the partnership continues to grow and continues to work. So again, sincerely appreciate y'all taking the time. You feel free to reach out to me directly and or to John or any one of the people from the Intellinom team here. And hopefully it's an opportunity for us to have a conversation as formal follow-up from this call. So John, I'll hand it back to you, but I think that was it from our end.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Keith. Really appreciate that. And Anand and Sean, great job. I think we've, obviously we're out of time here, so apologies that we went a little bit long, but I know we've addressed some of those Q&A questions around integration and costs real time. Anand, thanks for responding to those. So of course, any follow-up questions, please reach out to us. We'd love to share a conversation. And again, we're here to help you in this journey and ensure you're successful. So we'd love to dive in with you guys and understand some of your pain points and challenges and show you how you can solve those with cloud. And with that, thank you all so much for your time today. Hope everybody has a great week. We'll talk to you soon.